Between 2016 and 2024, something profound happened. A shift that is hard to define, but impossible to ignore. Some say it began with Donald Trump's election in 2016. Others point to the pandemic in 2020. But these years weren't just random upheavals. They felt like a test, a dividing line that forced us all to choose. Trump's victories in 2016 and 2024 can be seen as the bookends of an era. But what happened in between? And why did it feel like every event during these years was asking the same question? Do you trust the establishment? It started in 2016. Trump's election victory shocked the world. Not just because he won, but because of how he won. The media, the polls, the experts, they all said it was impossible. And when it happened, it wasn't just a political upset. It was a crack in the system. For many, it was exhilarating. Proof that the system wasn't as powerful as it seemed. But for others, it was terrifying. Proof that the system was failing. Over the next 4 years, the cracks widened. Protests erupted against Trump, against the police, against inequality. Social media amplified every outrage. Every debate seemed to escalate into a battle over identity, truth, and loyalty. And behind it all, the media hammered one message: Trump is dangerous. But beneath the noise, something deeper was happening. People were starting to ask, if the media got this wrong, what else were they wrong about? The pandemic wasn't just a global health crisis. It's been called the Great Sorting. A line drawn, and everyone was forced to decide, do you trust the establishment? Lockdowns, mandates, shifting guidance, some followed without question, believing it was necessary. Others hesitated, questioning the authority behind the decisions. And as the pandemic raged, another division appeared. The 2020 election. Claims of fraud, accusations of a stolen election. This wasn't just politics. It was a test of faith in the system itself. Do you believe the establishment would steal an election, or do you believe the system is still fair? Trust became the dividing line. Then came January 6, 2021. For some, it was the ultimate betrayal. Proof that Trump and his supporters were a threat to democracy. For others, it was something darker. A sign that the establishment was willing to do anything to crush dissent. The battle didn't end in 2020. It only shifted. In 2022, Elon Musk bought Twitter. Some saw him as a disruptor, ruining a platform they loved. Others saw him as a savior, restoring free speech to a platform that had become a tool for censorship. Before Musk, the establishment controlled the narrative on social media. The release of the Twitter files confirmed what many already suspected. Speech was being censored. Opinions were being silenced. But again, it came down to trust. If you trusted the establishment, Musk was dangerous, reckless. If you didn't trust the establishment, Musk was a hero, pulling back the curtain on a system that had been manipulating public discourse for years. Then came the first Trump assassination attempt, a moment that sent shockwaves through the nation. If you trusted the establishment, it was clear Trump's rhetoric had finally led to violence. But if you didn't trust the establishment, the story was more sinister. The shooter had appeared in a BlackRock commercial. Security around Trump collapsed in ways that seemed too convenient. Was it a random act of violence, or was something larger at play? Again, trust determined how you saw it, and the divide deepened. "2016 to 2024 wasn't just about Trump, pandemics, or elections. It was about trust. Every event asked that same question. Do you trust the establishment? The answer to that question put the individual on one side of the line versus the other. Some found clarity, others found confusion, but no one escaped unchanged. So what are your thoughts? How did these years reshape the way you see the world? And what happens to a society when trust in its foundations collapses? Even if 2016 to 2024 felt like a complete story, it wasn't. There is still more to come. It was more like the moment you realize a thread's come loose on something you've been wearing your whole life. And once you notice it, it's hard not to keep pulling. That thread might be trust, or meaning, or the stories we were raised to believe about who's in charge and what's worth believing. And when enough people start pulling at the same time, the whole fabric starts to shift, and sometimes unravel. We don't know what comes next, but we do know that change doesn't end with elections or pandemics or media storms. Those are just flashpoints in a much bigger pattern. This was just one attempt to step back, to look at what's happening from an elevated point of view. There are other threads. History, culture, conspiracies, even UFOs, all tangled in the same knot. You can't make someone see, but you can point and see if they will look. If you want more content like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.